Hi there, everyone, and welcome back to another video on the Toon Review YouTube channel. Today, with the daily news, we've got, dominated by Eddie Howe, really, with his interview with Alan Shearer for The Athletic. Some very interesting points made, and I've picked a couple of them out which really interested me. Also, Mikel Merino has given an insight into how he thinks Alexander Isak will do at Newcastle United, of course, former teammate at Real Sociedad, and Merino, of course, being a former Newcastle United player. And also some training photos have come out from recent training sessions at Newcastle United, and certain players still not training. So does that have any knock-on effect for West Ham on Sunday? But as usual, guys, if you do enjoy this video, please do stick a like on it. It does help us move up the search results on YouTube. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. It is free to do so. And of course, the notification bell as well, which will let you know when we do upload or we go live. So thank you very much for that. Now, into the video. And of course, we'll start off with Eddie Howe's interview with Alan Shearer for The Athletic. Now, if you do want to read the whole interview, it is available on The Athletic website. It is a brilliant interview. Eddie, as usual, comes across fantastically well. But I've got a few things that I sort of noticed that he said. And the first one is the Celtic job. Now, if you remember back to when Celtic were looking for a new manager before Postecoglou came in, Eddie Howe was the main man that Celtic wanted. And it was a job that really did appeal to Eddie Howe. Now, rumours were going around saying, he wouldn't take the Celtic job because it's too far north, he'd get homesick, etc. But he squashed all that, basically, by saying that the only reason he didn't go was a staffing issue. Now, whether this has anything to do with the current coaching staff that were at Celtic, they just couldn't pay the contracts off because they didn't have that kind of money. It would take time to run them down, and then Eddie could get his own staff in. Now, that would have caused a problem straight away, because working with coaches you know you're not going to have a future with would immediately cause a problem. Those coaches know that they're not going to be involved in the future. Why should they put any effort in, and vice versa? Building relationships just to be broken. So he said it was going to take around 5 months before he was able to bring his own staff in, and that would have caused a real issue. And that was one of the major sticking points why he didn't take the job at Celtic. So all these people saying that he was going to get homesick or whatever, just because of what happened, of course, at Burnley, it's a load of tosh. It's as simple as that. It's a load of tosh. Now, in the same interview, he mentioned one player that really, really stood out for him from the word go at Newcastle United, and that was, of course, Joelinton. Now, this guy's transformation from a forward to a midfielder has been nothing short of sensational. Joelinton was one of the players that I gave a hell of a rough time to over the 2 years that he was playing for Newcastle before Howe arrived. And I'm glad he's chucked egg back in my face and many other Newcastle fans. We had him on the scrap heap, let's be honest, we did. We thought there was no future for Joelinton. But it was suggested by many people that maybe he could be a midfielder. I did suggest that on a couple of our live shows. And then it came around by chance, didn't it, with the injury? It was, sending off to Kieran Clark, and then obviously Joelinton was put back in midfield against Norwich, and he's never looked back. But Eddie Howe has worked miracles with this guy. Let's not forget, he wasn't a midfielder. Eddie Howe has worked with him, the coaching staff have worked with him, and nurtured him into an absolute quality midfielder. And one of the first names on the team sheet. Even without Bruno, etc. in recent weeks, Joelinton has stood out by a mile. And his work rate is phenomenal. He's backtracking, defending. He's helping defenders out. He's breaking forward. The only thing that Joelinton needs to improve on now is when he's in the box, just his final finish. And we've got a complete player there. There's no doubt about it. And he's only 26. So there's many, many years of Joelinton to come, hopefully at Newcastle United, and hopefully banging in some goals in the future as well. But it was interesting that he was the one player that really, really stood out for Eddie on day one of training. So it just proves what, Joelinton's work rate is like behind the scenes. Even though things weren't going really well for him, he still put the graft in behind the scenes. And the fact that he's worked so hard to become this mercurious midfielder now is just incredible. It really is. So well done to Joelinton again, but also Eddie Howe and the coaching staff, because they've turned this guy around completely. Now, he's also spoken about what it means to be Newcastle United manager. And this is fantastic. It's obviously, the interview with Shearer was very interesting, because trying to talk about the takeover and things like that. So basically, what he felt was that he said, "I'm not in it to be popular or anyone's second team. He says, I'm in it to try and win, to create a culture and environment where we don't accept anything other than winning. To do that, you can't be labelled nice or soft touches, and that means doing everything to get a win. At times, that might be unpopular with opposing teams, opposition supporters, and referees. So there you go. I mean, he's obviously mainly talking about the Liverpool game there, isn't he, and what happened there, and being very unpopular and booed off, etc. But it doesn't bother Eddie Howe at all. That's what you want to hear from a manager. That's what you want, is a manager saying, I don't accept anything other than winning. So it doesn't matter who we upset along the way. It's all about winning. And he said, that feeling of us against everyone else, I'm trying to create that internally. But I don't think we're having to force it. It's something we can feel in Newcastle. There are a lot of people who want to knock us and criticise us and probably don't want us to be successful. So we've got to embrace that. It really is a fighting mentality from Eddie Howe. And it's absolutely fantastic to hear, because we haven't had this for a long time. He says, I've fallen in love not just with the place, but with the people as well. He says, immediately at the training ground, the first people you meet going in, you think, I wonder how this is going to go. But I've loved them from minute one. I don't know how they feel about me, but I certainly love them. And then the supporters, obviously that connection, we've grown to have a good feeling off each other. I love the fact that it's all about Newcastle. I love that intensity. So he's basically bouncing off the fans. The fans are bouncing off him. And, you know, he's talking about the players there. Do they love him or not? I think they do, by the way they work their asses off on the pitch. It's quite clear. And us fans, well, we sing about him every single game. He says, I'm trying to build the unity we need, not just with the players I'm working with and the staff and supporters, but through the whole city. That we're all together, that we're all united against everyone else. To say to them, come with us on this journey as we try and fight everyone for success. It is absolutely incredible. This guy has got Newcastle United at the forefront of everything, including the fans, the players, you know, the whole city. It is just, he wants to have that buzz, and that's an amazing feeling from a manager when we've had so little in the past of enthusiasm like this for a football club. He says, if you look at our points tally last season, it ended up okay from where we were, but our general performance markers and the key stats you look at, possession shots conceded, were quite low. We won a lot of games towards the end, but we weren't the dominant team a lot of the time, and I don't think you can sustain that. If it's your style, then eventually you'll stop winning. You've got a big problem, so we're going to try and change. It's got to be gradual, but we're trying to implement a style where we're progressive and dominant and going home and away to attack the game. That's going to be my biggest marker in terms of how we improve rather than points. And that's been proved already this season, because you can see, Eddie, how, you know, the way we play away from home, we still go on the attack. Yes, it might be the counter-attack sometimes, but it's an attack where we want to win the game. It's not like we're sitting back trying to get a point or anything like that. We're going at these teams from minute one. Look at the way we went against Man City, against Liverpool. We're not frightened of these teams anymore because we're confident of the football we're playing, and that's installed by the manager himself. You know, Eddie Howe has installed that into the team, and it is absolutely incredible. It really is. And then he finished off with, you're swinging all the time, he says, so you don't just want to make sure that you keep moving forward, you keep the positive momentum. That's why I think our style of football will be important. We've got to give our supporters that glimpse of the future and what may be. So he's trying to basically say there, Let's show the supporters how good we can be. Let's show the supporters the football they can expect to see in future years at this football club under myself. Let's go out and show these supporters what it's going to be like to win things. It's absolutely brilliant, and I'm buzzing from that interview. So, like I say, if you want to read the whole thing, lots of other things were said by Eddie Howe. Go and have a look at the Athletic website, and you can read the interview on there. It is brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. Now, Mikel Merino has also been talking, funny enough, to the Athletic regarding Alexander Isak and how he thinks he will play. Now, he played very briefly with him at Dortmund before, of course, they both ended up at Real Sociedad in Spain. Now, Mikel Merino has basically said Alex has already started well with Newcastle. His mindset is very good. He can adapt to whatever you tell him. When he came here to Real Sociedad from Dortmund, he had to adapt to a very specific system of playing where he had a specific role to make an exact movement when the ball was in a certain position. Being from Sweden and being able to adapt showed how smart he is. With his abilities, his speed and strength, the Premier League is a good place for him. He'll be great for the Magpies. So there you go. That's Merino basically saying what he thinks of Alexander Isak and how he's going to be doing in the future, which is brilliant for us. And of course, Merino spent a season with us and has nothing but good things to say about Newcastle United. Now, also in that interview, if you want to catch up with that, he also talks about why he left Newcastle, what happened with that, but how he still absolutely adores the football club because it made such an impression on him, as did the fans, in such a short space of time. So it's wonderful to have former players talking about the former clubs like that. And of course, I think all the fans would have Merino back. Very, very talented midfielder. And since, of course, he's left Newcastle, he's gone on to strength, Spanish international, etc., and doing really well. So congratulations to him. And it's great to hear him talking so positively about Alexander Isak. Now, the Newcastle United training photos, 47 of them were released. And not one of those photos had Callum Wilson, Bruno, or Maxi in those training photos. So take it what you will. Does that mean that really, realistically, they're not going to be available for the West Ham game? Or is it going to be late fitness tests? I'll be very interested to hear what Eddie Howe's got to say in his press conference on Friday. Although we know Eddie doesn't give a lot away regarding injuries and who's going to play. He doesn't like to give the opposition manager any grounds to think of for potential tactics against us and things like that. So it's a little late, I must admit, if they're not in training at the minute. If they come back tomorrow, it's one day or 1.5 days if they train, late or early Saturday. So I can't see any of them playing at the minute. If they're not in training, it's going to be a risk to put them in. On the bench, probably, maybe so, to give them 20 minutes, but not from the start because they haven't trained for so long. They don't want to give the opposition any sniff of a chance of winning the game or of course, getting our guys injured, which is more the point. So it'll be interesting to see what Eddie says, or whether they're just not photographing them in training for obvious reasons because they don't want the opposition seeing them. We know how Eddie is very clever at these mind games with opposition managers, and that may well just be the case with this one. Now, of course, Jordan Pickford has injured his hamstring and will be out for several weeks, which gives Nick Pope the opportunity to push for an England #1 spot come the World Cup. We know how well he's played so far for Newcastle United. Came out on social media this morning that he's made the most saves in the Premier League so far this season. And he's just in great form, isn't he? He's a fantastic goalkeeper. We've seen that already this season. Now, obviously, the upcoming Nations League games, he'll be in with a shout of starting those games. So let's hope that he really makes a push to become England #1. And finally, just from the Toon review and from everybody at Newcastle, I guess, just saying a massive, happy, heavenly 53rd birthday to the legend that is Gary Speed. Always missed every day, of course, especially with his family and close friends and everyone around the football world, basically, who knew Gary. He's very dear to Newcastle United fans' hearts, obviously, for the performances that he put in while he was at this club. Fantastic player. Loved him being here, and just, of course, very sad what happened, but hopefully he's at peace now, he's at rest, and a massive heavenly birthday to Gary Speed, never forgotten. But that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching the video. As I said earlier, if you have enjoyed it, please do hit that thumbs up button. And also, if you're new to the channel, please do hit that subscribe button. It's free to do so. And also the notification bell, which will let you know when we go live or we upload videos, which is very, very often. If you're watching this on Thursday, of course, we do have 8 p.m. tonight, the live show, which is the preview for the West Ham game at the London Stadium on Sunday. So you can join me, Danielle, Alex and Billy for that one. And lots coming up over the weekend. Again, watch-alongs, TTR Friday, all the good stuff on the channel. So get yourself involved in it. Do become a subscriber. Be part of this big family that's grown very quickly. But in the meantime, guys, have a wonderful day. Take care.